back, turners. In today's video I'm going to be making a natural edge vase out of this piece of camphor log that I picked up with some of that olive that I cut up there recently. It's got a good, I think 4.5 to 5 inch diameter on it, so I think that'll make a nice vase, and I want to try to keep the bark on for a nice live or natural edge. So what we're going to do is start at the bandsaw to trim the ends, the length that I want. Then we're going to mount it between the centers so I can get a tenon cut on one end. It's going to be a end grain vessel, so we want a tenon in compression to hold it in the chuck instead of in a mortise, which would tend to split the grain. So let's get started. Alright, turners, I'm going to start by making a mark here about where I want to cut this piece off. I'm also going to make a mark down here. This is where I'm going to trim it, get rid of the end. So I'm going to end up with a piece that's looks like it's going to be about a 10 or 11 inch vase. Okay, let's get to cutting. I'm not sure if you can see the grain in this camphor. There's some interesting colors in there. Not sure how best to show that, but okay, we're going to take this now to the lathe and start roughing out a vase. Alright guys, I'm just going to use this commercial center finder to find a center mark here. I'm going to do this on both ends. I'm going to start this probably with the spur center. It's a pretty good spot right there. It's not on the pith exactly, but that's going to be alright. Camphor is a very forgiving wood, so let's turn this around. The side's a little lighter. Okay. This will be for the, it's a little different shape down here. This is going to be for the drive center, spur center or live center, I'm not sure which. Okay, so I have kind of an odd shape up here. It's kind of a boxy shape, and it's a little oblong. So I'm making a lot of marks just so I can kind of arrange that center. I see a general grouping kind of here. Okay, so well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to call that center. So now I'm going to mount this between centers. Okay, make a starter hole for the live center. Awesome. And then I'll use the drive spur center itself. Just whack that in there. I know how to do it. Give it some bite. Alright, turners, this is going to be a spindle turning, which is why I mounted it with the tenon to compress the fibers, because if you had a mortise it would try to pull those fibers apart. So compression for spindle work. Also, this is going to be kind of a Grecian style vase. I believe that's what it's called. So it's going to have this can be kind of the thicker area here, and it's going to neck down. And here it's going to come in and then flare back out at the top, and I'm going to keep the top broad so I can try to preserve some of this natural edge. So I'm going to probably start with this spindle roughing gouge. Alright, turners, I've got the shaped vase off the lathe. I'm going to do a little bit of CA work up here. I've kept that natural edge on so far by the grace of God that has stayed on there. Got a nice little undercut going on there. It's going to be like a little spray. So as I come around to the inside, it's going to be, how the opening's going to shape. But I'm going to put some CA on here, and I'll also, on one of these knots, I'm going to use a little coffee grounds to fill that. And also some CA just to make sure these little other knots don't fall out. Alright guys, I got that all soaking up with CA, so that's going to take a moment to cure. I actually used sawdust from the turning to fill the one knot that was starting to lose a little bit of mass, and some CA in these others just to, again, to hold them in place. So, oh, I missed one. Get that one, we're going to let it dry, and then we'll go back to the lathe. Alright turners, while this is setting up, I'm going to set up the base for the fluting jig. This table is the bottom, And then there's a piece or a router that goes on top. Now, I picked this up at PSI. I used to have an old homemade one, but it was not the best, and I want to give this one a try. So I'm going to get it set up, and after I get it set up, I'm going to do some fluting here on the edge. Alright, turners, I got this table mounted to the lathe bed. They've got some knobs with some washers, and that secures it, and it moves around, so there's some room, you can move it in and out. And there's this track down here, and this track also moves. Nice thing about this track is that all the PSI chuck wrenches for the jaws fit the screws, so it's the same screws that they use for the chuck jaws, I believe. Anyway, so that makes it convenient. I only have to use one handle for the chuck jaws and the table. This is the router that it comes with, and the little router plate. I was pleasantly surprised. They say that you can't use another router in here, but I tested the size of my little Harbor Freight flush cut trim router, and it fits. So I can keep different bits mounted and just swap out the routers as needed. I thought that was kind of cool. So unfortunately you can't buy this kit without this router in it already, so it makes it a little bit on the expensive side. I think I paid maybe $140 before applying my 20% off coupon. If you wait long enough, PSI will normally send you a "hey, please come back" coupon worth about 20%. So that's what I would recommend, is that you wait until you get that coupon and then buy this. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. It's got some stops on it as well, so you can do stop fluting. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do a little bit of stop fluting, and I'm going to put some banding around it. And that's going to be the decoration on this vase. Alright, turners, the other thing that makes the fluting at preset intervals possible is having one of these index wheels. Now, some lathes already have these, mine didn't, so I had to buy an index wheel. It just screws onto the headstock spindle. This is another PSI product, so it fits a 1x8 headstock, and it comes with this L bracket down here and this other piece which has the indexing pin on it. So to use it, I'm going to need to put this on here. I already got that L bracket mounted into my lathe. Maybe going the wrong way with that. Let me try that again. There it goes. That's a tight fit. I guess that's a good thing. Okay. And then you want to get that down to where the pin is going to hold this securely when you tighten it up. Okay, so I'm going to tighten this part onto the L bracket now. And then we're going to set that pin. I'm going to do it, I think I'll put a little bit of fluting, maybe just right there. Okay, and we get that to a point where it doesn't move. Okay. Good, nice and solid. Okay, so now I am ready to start the fluting. Alright, turners, I've got the flutes on there. You can see them. I don't know if I can get a better lighting angle. Let me try this. There you go. As you can see those. Anyway, What I'm going to do now is using my detail tool, I'm going to just put a couple of little accent bands on either side of these just to kind of set them off. Then I'm going to do some sanding, and then I'm going to make sure this is really tight, and I'm going to start some hollowing. Yep, I like that. It sets it off just enough. Okay, tuners, I've got that sanded up now through 600 grit, and I'm going to use some of my shellac-based sanding sealer to give this a coat. That should also help bring up the grain a little bit, bring out the grain. Just get a little bit on there. Just rub it around a little bit. Yeah, this camphor really colors up nicely. Alright, turners, here it is, now polished up with the Tripoli Ultra Shine and the Shallow Wax. It's just got some really nice grain on there. I like it. Camphor's always a nice piece of wood, and like I said, it's forgiving wood. It turns nicely, so. I'm just getting ready to hollow, and I'm going to do that with a Forstner bit, and then that's going to make the starter hole, and then I'm going to use some of my hollowing tools and hollow out this vase. You can see the form that I was going for here. Let's see if I can zoom down a little bit on that. Okay, it's kind of almost a fountain effect. It comes kind of out and around with, and there's that natural edge. I'm probably going to break this video up into two pieces and do the hollowing piece separately, just so this doesn't get over long. So anyway, the hollowing comes next. Well, turners, I hope you join me for part 2 of this natural edged fluted vase. I just want to say thanks for everybody who's watching. Thanks for new subscribers. If you liked it, remember to comment, like, share, and check out my channel. If you like it, subscribe. Anyway, we'll catch you around for part 2 of this natural edge vase.